I have been listening to the news about the migrant attacks that have been going on, and how the um immigrants that want to come to America and demanding amnesty or whatever it is, they have been hit by tear gas left and right. Now, as soon as I heard that, I automatically thought about Richard Nixon because I remember when there were a lot of people protesting the Vietnam War during the Richard Nixon presidency. I do remember that there was a law that passed. It said the efficacy of violence will be used as a political device. And a lot of people were hit by tear gas during the Vietnam protests. And the fact that these migrants were, demanding entry into the US to become citizens or whatever it is and throwing tear gas at them, I mean, it's kind of reminding me of that, honestly. Now, what's interesting to me is that this shouldn't come to a surprise for anybody because this whole thing about illegal immigrants coming into the nation, you know, uh, crossing the border illegally, this is actually staged and this was planned. The government of Mexico was in on it, and the U.S. government was in on it as well. So honestly, I don't really see why this came as a surprise. I mean, this was to be expected. The whole thing was kind of staged so that a crisis like this would happen. It's just like the quote that Rahm Emanuel said many years ago: "Never let a crisis go to waste." And this is technically a crisis when you stop to think about it. So people say like, "Oh my God, this is so sad. I can't believe this is happening." Well, you see, here's the thing: illegal immigration never would have happened if this issue was taken care of since the 1960s. Especially during the height of the Missile Cuban crisis, there were a lot of illegal immigrants, even from Cuba, coming in. And you know what's funny? What I hate about the mainstream media is that they always point the fact that the illegal immigrants are Hispanics. What about the illegal immigrants who came to the U.S. from Europe? What about the illegal immigrants who came to the U.S. from Africa, from the Middle East, everywhere else? I mean, this has been an ongoing problem since the 1960s. And you know what? I mean, these migrants, they can protest and they can fight for the right to have their entrance granted into the U.S. However, there's one important thing that a lot of people don't even stop to think about. Not only is it that illegal immigrants have been coming in from all over the world, from the U.S., the wall itself that has been built under the Trump administration really isn't going to do much justice. Because last I checked, illegal immigrants have been getting past the border by digging under the ground just to pass the border. They've been digging under the ground nonstop. They had like the flashlight on their construction hats. They had the flashlight hooked on there. They had the shovels. They had machines. They were digging their way under just to cross the border. And this is nothing new. I mean, they've been doing this since the '80s, digging under the ground just to just to cross the border. So I don't really see why people aren't mentioning that. I mean, even Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush during the debate, the election 1988, they themselves were they themselves were actually talking about how we can help make it easier for the illegal immigrants to come into the U.S. so that they can become citizens, become residents, and be able to uh, play a role into be a factor in playing a role into boosting up our economy as working class citizens or whatever. And nothing worked. You see, here's the thing. I always tell people this: you can sweep dirt under the rug. You may not see the dirt, but you can't ignore the fact that there's still dirt that hasn't been cleaned up. So sweeping the dirt under the rug is not going to fix anything. But this issue with illegal immigration has imploded to the point where it has exploded in front of all of our faces. Now, here's the thing. Do I have some sympathy for these illegal immigrants? Yeah, I have a little bit. And they came from very, very poor backgrounds and horrible regimes. But when you stop to think about it, it's we have borders for a reason. So that we won't let it's a means of protection, and it's the same idea as locking your doors. And I'm not for illegal immigration. I don't I support I don't believe in open borders. I think borders should be secure. I mean, every country has a border, whether it's every country in Africa or even a poor country like Brazil. They themselves have borders. So the fact that these migrants are, getting hit by tear gas, from what I heard on the news, this comes to show you that this is something that I have been expecting since the George Bush administration. I mean, I knew that it was going to get this bad. I was hoping that I was going to be wrong about this, but I knew that this was going to happen. So I'm not really surprised that this was going to happen, but I have a feeling that somehow uh, the American public will have a change of heart, and they're all going to support the idea of just letting illegal immigrants cross the border willy nilly. And I think this might happen in the next few years. Put down your thoughts below, and I'd like to see what you guys have to say about it. Thank you for watching.